Was the Beaver Utah UFO the same type of craft as the Nimitz incident UFO / U.A.Ps? And of course, there were many of them during that incident. Not just one, although we only got one on camera. And only one engaged Commander Fravor in a pseudo dogfight-ish kind of thing. Although, of course, no shots were fired. Anyway, this is really fascinating to me because the Beaver Utah UFO was really the video that got me into all of this. Yeah, you know, I saw that in like 2017 whenever it came out. And, you know, before then I had seen Lou Elizondo doing the rounds on the news. But I didn't take that super seriously for whatever reason. Like the rest of the country, I was probably more interested in what was going on politically at the time than I was in the thought that there might be aliens here. Weird, but true. But then along comes the Beaver Utah UFO. And I watched this video, and I watched it again, and again, and again, and again, and again. I was just obsessed by the Beaver Utah UFO. And I wasn't the only one. There were a lot of detailed breakdowns at the time trying to figure out if it was a hoax or not. And a lot of in-depth analysis went on of the few short seconds or frames we have of that fast-moving white object over the plains or mountains of Utah. And yeah, it seems to be coming from the mountains onto the rolling plain or hills. So yeah, anyway, I just was obsessed with it because I had never really taken UFOs seriously. And I watched all the detailed breakdowns and the analysis, and it just had to be legit. It couldn't have been a hoax. It didn't make sense for it to be a hoax. First of all, the people that released the footage came out with their real names and their real identities and really putting themselves out there. Hoaxers don't usually tend to do that. There's a whole bunch of other, ways people analyzed the footage and the situation surrounding the footage, to where most open-minded people came to the conclusion that it was legit. But I won't go into all of that right now. If you're interested in those detailed breakdowns that were done at the time, I totally encourage you to seek those out. But I want to focus today on a new analysis that was done, not just on the Beaver Utah UFO, but also comparing it to the Nimitz encounter. And I think that's fascinating because, of course, the Beaver Utah UFO led me directly to the Nimitz because I actually took the Beaver UFO seriously and started to actually believe that, hey, maybe we're not alone. Maybe there is something else on this planet. And it is secret. It does not want it to be itself to be known. Only then, when I next saw Lou Elizondo on the next news show he was on, did I start to take him more seriously and began my odyssey, my years-long odyssey down one rabbit hole after another. And I have gone down a whole bunch of rabbit holes now. And it really all started with the Beaver Utah UFO. So, of course, I was fascinated to see a comparison between that UFO and the Nimitz. So, without further ado, let's get into that.
Now that we are leaning towards the object not being an optical illusion, let's check its size and its velocity. It is where it gets interesting. Not only the shape of the object reminds us of the Tic-Tac UFO in the Nimitz encounter, but also the velocity, which is approximately 2 miles in a second. And in Nimitz encounter, the pilots said that the velocity was about 10 miles in 2 seconds. That's close enough. And regarding the scale, if you check the pilot's testimony, they said the UFO's approximate size to be around 10 to 14 meters. In our case, It has turned out to be around 49 feet, which equals to 15 meters. That is a major coincidence. At this point, if you still think it's not a UFO or UAP, you end up with two scenarios. Either it's a bird or bug, which is impossible because of its shape with no flapping wings, its trajectory with no dive, and unimaginable velocity. Or you're gonna say it's a CGI. I'm not gonna argue with that because I already created it. But if I were to create this in the first place, I wouldn't go to trouble of using a Google Map reference image and matching the size and velocity of the object with the Tic-Tac UFO. Also, after releasing the footage, I wouldn't reveal my name or not even thinking about releasing the raw footage so people can analyze it. So if it is a UFO, you might ask why we don't see these more often in the sky. Now pay attention, in both cases they're seen in remote areas and they are insanely fast. So it's not that easy to catch one of these with naked eyes. So if it is a UFO or UAP, is it human or is it non-human or E.T.? Of course it's possible for it to be either, but if you look at its behavior in both cases, after the object realizes the presence of an observer, it flies by the object as if it's trying to scan it. If it were a secret military project, it would have already known what it's dealing with, and being a secret project, it would have been disappeared. So it's more likely for it to be non-human. And here's our final answer. As you can see, I couldn't give you a definite answer, just the possibilities. But maybe in the near future, we will get an answer. Either by the government declassifying some secret military documents, or maybe an official contact.
So, a 40% chance the Beaver UFO is a legit UFO and not a hoax. Hoax. I would put it higher than that, but it's still higher than the other percentages. So I think that's encouraging. But yeah, to me, there's no way that it's a hoax, but it is fascinating that it shares so much in common with the Nimitz incident and the Nimitz UFO. Now, the Nimitz UFO either came from or was somehow interacting with a submerged object. That's how the pilots first noticed it, was they noticed this disturbance in the water that seemed to be some large thing there. And then they saw this little thing flying up above it. And of course, that was the Tic-Tac UFO that has since become so famous. But I'd always wondered if those Tic-Tacs came from the water, released from some submarine craft. Now, I should point out that these things were going up and down between the sea level and space, essentially, in about 2 seconds. So they seem to have a good familiarity with being able to go into space, as well as potentially being able to go into the water. In any case, the Beaver UFO was just going in a basically straight line out from the mountains, not interacting with the sea or space. So it was doing something here, some terrestrial, earth-based, dry land sort of thing. I didn't say that very well. It was flying over the land. There were no submarines involved in Beaver, at least that we know of. But yeah, so there does seem to be a striking similarity between those two craft. So was the Beaver UFO a Tic-Tac? What do you think? Let me know in the comments below. I would be fascinated to hear your opinions on these two craft. Are they the same? Do they have something in common? Was one a hoax and one not? Let me know your thoughts. Please like this video. I would really appreciate it. Give it a big thumbs up. Also, smash that subscribe button and please hit the bell to be notified of future videos. You don't want to miss a thing. Also, there's social media links below. Follow me on Facebook and Twitter. That'd be so awesome. I'm trying to grow this platform. There is also a PayPal button below. a PayPal button below, to say that better. So if you wanted to support the channel, that would be awesome. And until next time, Cosmic Road out.